G'day everyone, and big welcome back to Gordy's Gasbags episode, woohoo, double figures, the big one, Zippo. And Corona's still hanging in there, although after the weekend, she ain't coming around for a while. I hope everyone's well. This one's a very interesting episode for me because I feel like I need to behave. It's kind of like chatting to my boss, but not. But anyhow, who else? Keeley Devery! KD is in the house.
Hello, Gordy. How are you? Best behaviour as always.
Yes, I feel like we haven't spoken for about, a day.
Yeah, probably. Not at length at all.
I know. You well?
I'm really well. It's surreal, like really weird. Working from home, as everyone is. Can go in the office every now and then, but obviously we're trying to keep everyone out of there and just, with the whole family at home and doing their thing. It's it's just quite surreal. I always remember just constantly, I think probably for the last 20 years, always feeling like, oh my God, I just want the world to stop just for 2 weeks. Just stop 2 weeks and then I can catch up and then go again. And now I'm like, well, we got it. So where's that bloody list of things I was going to get done? But
and
that whole surrealness.
Hey, on that list, just over your left shoulder there's a piano. On that list was trying to learn how to play it, or can you play?
Well, it's a pianola, and I could just pretend. But it has always been on my list of things to do is to learn to play the piano. So, maybe we can revisit this in about 3 weeks and see how I'm going.
Right. Well, Keels, as you know so far, I have Gordy's Gasbags has entertained a number of your teammates from the eras. I think you debuted back in 85, is that correct? 1985?
Yeah, 85.
64 caps.
I was 12, yeah.
64 caps. That's pretty impressive because, when we look back at the game back then, you guys didn't play as many tests in a given year as, say, the current Aussie side. So to knock up a 64, pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there wasn't much. I mean, we could quite often only have one test. Like we might only have 3 tests in 1 year. So it was. So I think I was in there for a while. I think it was 10 years. Just hung in there as long as I could. But it was. It was fun. It was always just fun. Look back.
Yeah, go on.
I just always look back on it with just the best memories. I just think it was all just a hoot.
Who'd you debut alongside?
Oh my God. Well, Annie Sargent was the captain.
Yep.
And it was a bit of a transition phase, I think, when we got in at 85. So there was Monica Picalis from Adelaide.
Yep, South Australia.
South Australia. So in the defence end. Julie Franco was in the team. Jill McIntosh, Annie Sargent, Sue Hawkins, and there was a few young ones. So there was Vicky Wilson, and Michelle Bendecker. So we were sort of in the defence end together. We sort of started in the national team together, and together up that back end for a long time. So it was a real mix of I'm not going to say really old ones and really young ones, but it was almost a bit of a transition.
JB coach?
No, who was my first coach? Oh my God, I should have done a little bit more research, shouldn't I?
Maybe I should have as well. We don't do that on Gordy's Gasbags, though.
Who was my first 85? No, Joyce.
JT?
Coach.
Wilma?
No, it might have been Wilma. So, I mean, I had quite a few different coaches. Gay T had it, I think, in 86. Wilma was coaching 87 for World Cup. Joyce didn't come in, and then there was Pam Barham. Pam Barham was the World Games 85 from Queensland. Lovely lady. So we had quite a few coaches. Like, it's not like they had it for massive blocks of time. It was quite often. And Gay T coached Wilma Shakespeare, and then Joyce and Jill Mack. So quite a range.
I have looked back at the photos over the years, and the uniforms are intriguing. Have you kept any of your old stuff?
my God. I was up in the attic the other day, and I have actually bought something for show and tell. But before that one, there was this, I think the worst, and I was actually trying to find some photos, it was on that very first tour, 85, we went to UK. And it was like a leisure suit is the only way I can describe it. And it was a velour leisure suit. Yes. So, and it was green, like a really bright green pants, and the top was yellow. It was disgusting. And I just wish I could find the photos. But to go with that, you had your green and gold Dunlops.
Oh, and you've still got them?
Yes. So, went up in the attic the other day, and I found all this stuff, and I'm like, why the hell did I save these? We didn't like wearing them when we had to wear them. Anyway, 19-year-old son, oh, Mum, these are fantastic. Can I have those? So he's actually wearing them. So got to figure that was the colour. That green was the colour of the leisure suit.
Oh,
so
no. Show me the tread. I want to see the tread on the shoe. Oh, gee, haven't we come a long way?
I know, it was a shocker.
That's amazing.
But quite often when you went on to, not so much in the UK, but if you went to New Zealand, you could quite often be playing tour matches outside. So you do a test series, and I'm just trying to think when all that stopped, but you quite often have games, you'd have your test matches, but you'd also play some tour matches.
Yeah.
So we don't do now, which is a shame, because you always had a smashing after-match function with those where everyone would,
Were you well behaved?
Always. Yeah, very conscientious.
Very full of it.
No, I was. And I got to say, I was as competitive as the next person. I was so competitive, and when it came to the game, but having fun was a very close second. Yeah. And there was no point being on tour if you weren't going to experience all there was on offer.
When you played Keels, and for anyone that watches the footage, you pride yourself on a rebound. You were a pretty decent rebounder. Yeah,
actually, I've got to say I put a lot of that down to basketball. I played rep basketball as well, and I think that really helped with that. And I would quite often, talking to girls that would be when they're young, I want to learn, I want to become a better defender. I really think basketball really helped me. Yeah. I think going from netball to basketballers, I think, had the trouble transitioning because they were a little bit more physical. But no, I really, I think when it came to rebounds, that's probably when I was at my most competitive, or trying to stuff it up. There was nothing better than stuffing a shot, and especially if it sort of, got the shooter on the nose on the way down at the same time. I mean, the look on their faces, nothing there. That's probably one of the most endearing memories is seeing something because they've had their shot stuffed right back in their face.
Love it. So you remember, I got told I wasn't supposed to tell everyone who all the members of the Old Moles Netball Club are, but throughout this Gordy's Gasbags, it seems that the club is slowly being introduced to the general public, of which you are a very important figure within the club. But it's not the only club you're a part of.
No. Very proud to be a member of the OMNC, the Old Moles Netball Club, but also I'm also in the Steel Magnolias. So I quite like that one as well because I'm one of the younger ones because, you've got old Elsma Murillo, old Wilma Shakespeare, old Marg Molina, old Jenny Golan, Poss Hearn, a little bit younger than me, but we feel fantastic in that group, and they can tell all the stories and, we can help them out of their chairs. And, it's a really nice group to be a part of. And we try and catch up at least once a year as well. And I think for me, that's like as much as the competitions and how much you wanted to win and that still kicks in. But the catching up with everyone and the friendships that you formed, and they're such long-term friendships because you do stuff with those people that you're never going to do with people again. People that you meet later in life, like you meet the school mums but you're not going to, sit around your tracky dacks and talk crap with them the way you will with the old netball friends, just because of what you've been through together on and off the court. And because of the amount of dirt they have on you, you stay friends with them forever because it's in your best interest.
So, well, don't sit here and bloody fish and throw the bait out. I feel like you've done that. Yeah. So if I went to this, here's 2 questions. Question 1, I ring the Steel Magnolias group and I say, give me something on KD. They would. Oh, you take your Channel 9 hat off just for a small second.
No. It's all good, clean fun. Yeah.
Were you the last out or the first home?
I think it's I can do a good smoke bomb when I have to.
Really?
Unlike some of them, I actually know when it's time to call it off.
You know who else is good at...
Not mentioning names, Carissa Dalwood or Shelley O'Donnell, but...
Yeah. Hey, you know who the other... I think the most... like the person that is best at smoke bombs? You employ her.
Oh, I'm going to say Ellis.
Nah. Oh, God, she's last home. Catherine Cox. The greatest. Catherine Cox. The greatest. See you later. Gone.
No, it's I think it's a good skill to have. I think it is a good skill. Yeah,
it doesn't fall under the book of Gordy, let me tell you. It's never been a strength. And what would if I rang the Old Moles Netball Club, what would they drop on you?
No, they wouldn't drop anything because like I said, because they know that I've got as much.
It's a dish back.
So it is, and it is very much. You know, what happens on tour stays on tour, and that continues to this day, even when we're still touring. Just not packing any sand shoes, but we're still touring.
Look, I have to let the public know that I did receive a very a privileged invitation yesterday, which was an invite into the Old Moles Netball Club catch-up yesterday afternoon, and I'll never be the same again.
Yep, you're still paying the price.
Oh, guys, it's gold. It is absolute gold. Hey, Keels, I want to go on.
A sensory onslaught, I'd say.
Yeah, it was. Well, as soon as Shelley O'Donnell starts speaking, that is a sensory onslaught. But anyhow, hey, I want to go back. I had someone write to me the other day, wanting me to do an episode where I spoke to people around who had done their ACLs and then come back into the game. And you that was you. So, but interestingly though, you know, like if you look at someone that does an ACL in the modern day game, to say when you did yours, what year was it? 87, 88?
Yeah.
So a big difference in terms of recovery. But for you came back to the Aussie side, and you were in there for another number of years. So talk me through that.
Yeah. So, well, that's the thing, because it was sort of fairly early in my international career, unfortunately, and it was at the World Cup in Scotland in '87. So was going gangbusters, and even when I did it, I thought, it's okay, I can play on.
Yeah.
And tried to, and lasted about another 2 minutes until I tried to actually push off and go sideways. And then I'm like, don't think there's anything there. So that was a bit unfortunate, but it was in the day too. I remember someone had theirs done the year before, and you used to have the big cut up both sides of your legs. So they'd rip out and they'd cut you wide open. So whoever had it done, and they have these 2 massive scars down either side of their knee. Anyway, so when I had mine done, it was just one up the middle. I'm like, how lucky am I?
Yeah.
Look at that. They're just like little pinholes. But so it was a major, because it was major surgery then, and then you couldn't weight bear for 6 weeks. So I was in a cast for 6 weeks, not a cast, but a brace, but you still couldn't weight bear for 6 weeks. But it was interesting. So the competitive juices really kicked in then, and I had little challenges. I remember having a tape measure on the lino floor at home, and I'd put a sock on and do the flexing and bending exercise to see, so I could measure it every single day how much I was improving. I had a playlist of songs that would, you know, push me harder. So it was it was tough because it was a good 12 months. Like the recommendation was that you couldn't come back within 12 months.
Right.
Because you know, so it was really, and I think it was 12 months to the day that I was back in the national team. There was when we played, I'd got to the nationals and then got selected in that next team. So it was so, and that, I've got to say, that was probably my most satisfying selection.
Yeah.
Only because you knew how much had gone into getting back there. And you know, there was probably, but I was going to say, were there probably times I didn't think, I don't think I ever entertained that thought. I just knew I'd be back.
That was your mission.
And the good thing, the positive to it was, though, is that you really learned everything. So what I found is that every skill that when I got back on the court, every skill I did it with all the learnings that I had. Yeah. So it was a chance to get rid of the bad habits too, which I found, you know, really good, that I could really hone down on the skills and how you do it and the mechanics of it, because you had to relearn them all, but you relearned it with all the knowledge that you had. And I really found that was, you know, if there had to be a benefit, that was it.
Yeah, not to say that we want people going out to do that so they become better skilled.
Don't put it on your to-do list.
Hey, when you came back, you played 91 World Champs in Sydney. Oh, bear with me. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Stand by.
Yeah, it was just a family call. You played 91 World Champs, and it's that famous game. Like, I think for me, coming through as a netballer, it's the vision. I remember I was over at two of my best friends' house, Peter Kennedy and Claire Smallacombe, who were netballers coming through the Vic system at the time. And the three of us just all jumped on the bed together and had the TV on, and we never moved from it. And we were watching that final, but the whole series, but the final, and Bobby Hawke's there. Just the crowd. Yeah. It was the first time I really remembered thinking, wow, netball's like, you know, we can get bums on seats, and what a moment.
It was awesome. It really was. And it was such a great team, and it was in Sydney, so it was my hometown, and the crowd was awesome, and the game, like it was, and especially it was just, there was no more than 2 or 3 goals difference the whole game, and the Kiwis at that time, we had such great respect for them, and I think we, you know, we certainly still do, but playing against them, there was a lot of respect there for their ability, and we felt it was sort of shared, and it really was an awesome game. I just and afterwards, like it was absolute madness and euphoria, and I remember my mum said she even signed an autograph, Keeley's mum. Everyone was just going nuts, like, and it was just
it changed netball, didn't it? Like, I mean, I think I've spoken to quite a few people through time, and everyone that I speak to say if they can pinpoint a time where maybe netball, I mean, we've had growth, and we'll talk about that in a second, but it was really that moment that netball got a name and a face in this country.
Yeah, I think so. I think we can't underestimate the effect that it had, and you know, it was live on TV. It was being called live on the radio, and you know, people got caught up in it. And I still even remember the next day, a few of us had to go to a rugby event, and it was, you know, or it might have been the next week. Next day would have been a blur, and you know, people knew, and they sort of, you know, they had seen the game or heard about the game or seen the highlights, and it was like, oh my God, are you sure? Yes, this is, you know. It was it did have a big impact.
Yeah. Hey, Keels, a lot of the people that I've spoken to in the girls and that, you know, as we know, have gone into coaching or whatnot. Did that?
And isn't that bizarre? Well, look at the one coaching. Oh my God, Simone McInnes. Now, Carissa, never thought she'd coach. That was a good bet. Nikki Cusack, I thought, but it makes sense now because she's great as that sort of specialist nurturing coach.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've seen her in action on the floor, and she's a great coach. Sue Kenny, I expected she would coach. Vicky Wilson, I expected she would coach. But Simon's been the dark horse for me because I just thought, nah. But she's awesome, and now sort of, you know, still being involved in the game and being a senior in action. It certainly surprised me.
Well, it wasn't for you?
I love coaching. I love coaching sort of rep standard kids. I mean, I coached my daughter's team when she was little, only because, you know, you get roped into that sort of stuff. But I now do some I'm just involved with our local association, Inner Western Suburbs Netball Association, and as the senior rep coordinator. But I do a bit of more specialist defence work, which I'm happy to do with the rep teams or with the senior reps, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. I just don't think I could do the week in, week out coaching and, you know, managing the whole, you know, and it's just having to deal with those bloody prissy shooters. I mean, really, just do your head in, you know, just shoot feet up.
I hear you. So
you're in the circle, shoot the bloody thing. You know, that's
what the G and the A and the G and the S on your bib stands for. Hey, I don't know if everyone would know well, for those of you that don't know, Keeley Devery is the current executive producer of the netball at Channel 9. So everything you see in terms of Suncorp Super Netball is this lady here. But your history is actually with rugby.
Yeah, well, I spent while I was actually at the AIS. When you were there, you had to be studying or working. Some of them was still at school, and I actually did a degree in journalism. So that was always an area I sort of was thinking of getting into. And then I had I was at Fox Sports for about 21 years.
Wow.
When Fox, it was Premier Media Group when it first started, and then I was sort of there in at the ground, and it was the very start of pay TV, and that was fantastic. It was so exciting, and had the chance to work on so many things. I was initially doing news and hosting programs, and then I moved into producing, and I was producing a show called The Back Page. Mm-hmm. I did that show for about 10 or 11 years with Mike Gibson. Oh my God, just, you know, beautiful human, and how much I learnt about the industry from him, and just a brilliant writer. Peter Fitzsimons, fantastic. Peter Frelingos, Billy Birmingham, a great bunch of guys. And so I was their producer for basically, 10 years. And then Fox Sports actually got the ANZ Championship, the first year of the ANZ Championship. That's and awesome. I was the so then I got handed that, and I was the executive producer of that, and we got that off the ground running, and then went to 10. So I was like, oh, thanks. So then after that, I moved into rugby union, and I was producing our studio shows, and then started producing live games. So Super Rugby, test matches, did a couple of World Cups, John Eales medal. So yeah, rugby was my game, and that was fantastic, and a really great bunch of guys that I work with there that I'm still really close with. But then 3 years ago, I had a call from Tom Malone, who was the then head of sport at Channel 9, going, "Hey, we got the netball, you want to chat?" Next thing you know, I'm signing a contract and over at 9. So it's been fun. So it's back to being on tour again, but it's work.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you. So, as in that role, you said you've produced TV shows, and then you got in rugby, and you sort of started producing Game Day. What do you love more? Because it's two completely different roles.
Producing or
the Game Day. Do you love being out at the venue and that live experience, or do you like it in venue?
Oh, look, there's nothing like a live broadcast to know you're alive.
Yeah.
You get the sweaty bits and and there's a lot going on and a lot of moving parts, and that when it gets to the end of the game and you've got a hard time to hit out and everyone's looking at you like, where are we going? And you're like, I don't know, but I do really, very calm. No, I really, I don't get so much now to just go and sit at a game. I like to go and sit in a venue. I still like to do that where I can, but most of the time I'm, sitting in a smelly, manky truck. But it's great. It's because you're just seeing every bit of the game. You're seeing the crowd get excited. You're watching the players closely, and you're looking at trends, and you're listening to you guys. And it's just fun to be a part of it. And that's the thing. Like, it's work, but it's great.
Yeah, you do drop the occasional joke in my ear.
Just to keep you up. And
I'm up. I don't need to be up anymore. The general public tell me I'm up. I understand. No, it's good. Listen,
I think too, when I look at our commentary team, and very few sports though really have people like that can come into that role. Like when I look at all of our commentators, they're you're all articulate, you're fun, know the game inside out. Well, there's not many sports that can really, bring people into all of those roles. So you guys can fill all the roles to be a caller, which is a really, that's a quite a distinct role, and even hosting. Like you guys can just do it all. And I think we're quite lucky in that way that we've got, such a great range of talent with netballers, and no one's precious. Like, they're all good fun.
Yeah, I think that's something we pride ourselves on. There's nothing. All the makeup artists and everything always say they love it, but that's kind of not. We love them too, because otherwise we'd look like crap. Hey, let's just talk serious for a moment, because obviously in the midst of COVID, netball's come to a halt. So we heard from Kath Harvey-Williams the other day with regards to where, she sits from a Players Association perspective. How do you think it's looking, Keels, for season 2020 from the sport and your perspective at Channel 9?
It's just so hard to make a call. Like, there's so many unknowns. But from Nine's perspective, we're talking, constantly with Netball Australia and SSN, and whatever can be done to have a competition happen. Like, we're there, we're behind it. But it's just like, when do you make the call? And I think at the moment we've got a bit of time, because SSN's made the stance that it's basically there'll be no matches before June 30. And then I think it gives us then a chance at the end of this month, at the end of next month, to see where we're placed. It's. I mean, I've certainly never thought for 1 minute, there won't be a comp, but we just got to ride out this next month or two and just see. And in the meantime, it's just trying to get everyone their netty fix where they can. We'll be looking to put out a whole lot of digital content as well, and keep people engaged with the game and engaged with the game. But it's a, you look at all sport, and it's just, you just can't believe this could happen. It's real. Yeah.
I know. I had a conversation with a neighbour the other day who knows nothing about sport, and when I was sort of saying, I just don't even know Australia without sport, they couldn't comprehend my conversation. So there's two streams in this country. There are those of us that live and breathe it and survive by it and are not coping without it, and then there's another group of people that relatively couldn't give a rat's ass, to be honest with you. So you got to make sure you're talking with the right people. Hey, KD, I know you have been watching some of these, and I therefore know that that when it comes to the end, I just love everyone's reactions. Listen, there's been some Barry Crockers.
Yeah, I know, but so much better than me. When I was practicing last night with the OMC, I was actually pretty good, but that's no. So
let me remind you, weren't that great, but anyhow.
I was asking the OMNC for some suggestions. So, but because I thought, well, I don't really have a go-to karaoke song, but I do have a song that takes me back to Canberra days at the AIS.
We'll go back there. It's terrible.
Oh, dear me. And I've got this, every time I hear this song, I see Vicky Wilson, Sue Kenny, and Nicole Cusack dancing very badly in those drop waist daggy dresses. Remember those dresses? They were like a drop waist. Oh my God. And that's the vision. So
how's it go? What song is it?
Hey, everyone just get yourself in private bin mode. This is before everyone's smoke down.
All right, here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, Keeley Devery dropping one of her best karaoke tunes right here on Gordy's Gasbags. Over to you, KD.
You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, round, round, baby, round. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, round, 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 round.
That's the only words I know.
And I'm probably mushed up over those anyway.
That's terrific.
Please, I have a great vision of those girls now at the bin.
I tell you what, we owe a huge amount to the Australian Institute of Sport.
I thought you were going to say the private bin.
And the private, we probably gave them a fair bit, but anyhow. Hey, Keels, great to chat. Actually, great to chat, not work stuff, so to speak, a bit of fun.
Thank you. Very nice.
Listen, we know it's a big year ahead, particularly if we all get squashed into the back end of the year. So all the very best to you, and terrific job Channel 9 are doing for netball. We love your work. And hopefully Suncorp Super Netball will be back on our TV screens in the not-too-distant future.
See you on the telly.
See you on the telly. Thanks, KD.